Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we're going to talk about being persecuted for Jesus. Religious persecution is as old as religion itself. Once a way or the way to God is promoted, people are ready to reject it. Granted, many of the ways should be rejected, but not the way to God. Well, Jesus would be hunted down as the Messiah, the Son of God, and yes, God in the flesh. The religious leaders would leave no stone unturned in their pursuit of Jesus. Today, people are still after Jesus. They're looking to remove him, his message, and even his followers. Listen to how the religious leaders continued their pursuit of Jesus in John chapter 11, beginning in verse 54. Jesus therefore no longer walked openly among the Jews, but went from there to the region near the wilderness, to a town called Ephraim, and there he stayed with the disciples. Now the Passover of the Jews was at hand, and many went up from the country to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. They were looking for Jesus and saying to one another as they stood in the temple, "What do you think? That he will not come to the feast at all?" Now the chief priests and the Pharisees had given order that if anyone knew where he was, he should let them know, so that they might arrest him. Jesus knows that his time is coming, but it's not present. He is wise, so he avoids the Jewish people in his travels. It's just too dangerous to be around them when the Pharisees are determined to kill him. Now, this is the third Passover that John mentions specifically in Jesus' life. Jesus was the sacrificial lamb that was symbolized all those years ago at that first Passover. And his time to die would come soon, but not until God's appointed time. John tells us that the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that if anyone knew where he was, he should let them know so that they might arrest him. As I read those words, I think of what the Nazis did in World War II to find the Jews. I think of some of the articles I read today about people turning in Christians in Islamic countries, or even here in the United States. I recently read of a man facing jail time for sharing his story of conversion from homosexuality to Christianity. I heard of a parent being turned in by the school. Why? Because their transgender child was being taught Christian values. Look, if you're a Christian, be prepared. The world loves the darkness, as John wrote in John chapter 3. Jesus said that the world will hate you, but they hated him first. Persecution is likely inevitable, but eternity with Christ is forever. Today, if you're facing persecution for your faith, celebrate. Jesus told us to in Matthew chapter 5. If you're not a Christian, I want you to consider what you've seen while walking with Jesus. He's healed the sick. He's restored the cripple. He's brought the dead to life. He's continued to show the impotency of religion and the sufficiency of his love and work. Jesus Christ is the way to God, no matter what the world thinks or does.